Do it right. Let's get right after here. We'll use our compass here in a second. I just want to introduce a new term to you. And if you look at that new term, perpendicular bisector, it contains two words we're very familiar with. I just combined them now. We should, perpendicular, what are we thinking about? You hear the word, I just went over in homework. Perpendicular, right angles, right angles, right angles. Right angles are being formed. Bisector, I know that was a couple days ago, but bisector, what happens? If I bisected an angle, but when you bisect anything, it cuts it into two congruent pieces. So that's what we're doing here, right? We're making something that's going to form a what type of angle? Right, and cut something in half. All right, we can only compasses down. You don't need them yet. They're getting to be a distraction. The only thing we can do a perpendicular bisector for is a line segment, because I can't cut a line in half. So what I want you to do right now, we're going to have EF is going to be the perpendicular bisector of line segment CD. So draw yourself line segment CD right now. Right underneath where it says conclude, draw line segment CD, because we're about to have a perpendicular bisector for it. Everyone can draw that at this point, line segment CD. Line EF is going to be a perpendicular bisector. So when I ask you and I walk around to draw EF, it's going to form a what with CD? Right angle, and also do what? What's the bisector part mean again? Divide it into two equal parts. And it's going to be a line EF. So see if you can draw that right now. Draw EF, so it's perpendicular, forms a right angle, and cut CD in half. And we're just eyeballing this. This is just, you don't need to measure anything. Okay, so draw line EF. So it's perpendicular. Yeah. Okay. Remember what that symbol was from yesterday, which is called perpendicular, right? So we're going to do it we're going to make a new line EF. Okay? And it is going to form a perpendicular, which means it's going to form a right angle with CD and bisector. It's going to go halfway through it. So each piece is going to be, we're going to call that EF. Put arrows on. Okay, good. All right, let's see what we got here. Make sure it's a line. Right, we're calling this line EF, so we have arrows on them. Good, good, yeah. Nice. Nice. You're killing me with the compass. Put it off to the side. Thank you. Now, let's make that a line all the way through, going all the way through, all right, because you got a ray going there for me right now. All right, good. Getting a little ahead of me. I like it, though. I like it. Good. Good. We got a line going. Line. Make sure we got arrows and E and F on there. All right. So here you go. Here's my version up here. All right, make sure it's aligned with arrows. It's got E and F on it. All right, now, a lot of you didn't have that, and I didn't expect it yet. How about some markings now that show me it's perpendicular and it's bisecting CD? Let's start with the perpendicular part. What's it forming? A right angle. So we should have a right angle here to show that it's perpendicular. And it's bisecting, which you told me is cutting this into two congruent parts. So what should be on each side of CD? Put them on. So that is a complete diagram. EF is a perpendicular bisector. Okay, everyone good on what that is now? Forms a right angle and cuts the segment into two congruent parts. Questions? All right, let's construct one now. Let's construct one down on AB. This is what we're going to do, but with our compass. All right, so grab your compass quickly. Not playing around, putting circles on our paper. You guys have done this construction before. I am not about to show you a new construction. Here's a little hint. Let me go back up to our diagram here. What is that right there? I'm putting that point on. What is this called? That's called the midpoint, isn't it? That's the midpoint. And you guys already have a construction. You did it on the quiz, how to find the midpoint, didn't you? Okay, so let's go. Put your compass point on A. Anybody remember the steps? Yeah. Good. Open up. Perfect. Open up your compass more than half the length. And you want to remember, make a decent size arc, about a half circle size. There we go. Anybody remember where we go from here? What's up, Taylor?
Same thing.
Yep, go perfect. Go over the other endpoint. Go over the other endpoint. And yes, we are going to make a second arc. Make sure you have how many points of intersection do I want here? 2, not 1 here. I got to go all the way above as well and get 2 points of intersection. Now, when we found the midpoint, I didn't have you draw the line in. I just said line up your straight edge and mark it on your segment. Now I want you to draw it in, because that line you're going to draw in is called a perpendicular bisector. Okay, so line up your straight edge. Perpendicular and bisector. Gonna put some markings on there too to show me it's a perpendicular bisector, right? Show me it's a perpendicular bisector. So we have a right angle there and hash marks. So you just cut that segment in half and made a right angle. So no new construction there. You've seen this one before. And also remembering that this is what right here? That's the midpoint, yeah. That's the midpoint of this. I don't need to write that down, but knowing that's good. Any questions on perpendicular bisector? Let's just talk about bisector. It doesn't need to be perpendicular, just plain bisector. I want to see if we can draw this with the correct markings. Line segment XY bisects AB. Did I say anything about being perpendicular? Okay, it doesn't have to be perpendicular. It does not need to form a right angle, but it does need to cut AB into 2 congruent ones. All right, so go ahead, draw line segment AB. Draw line segment AB, because that's the one that's getting bisected. Draw. And then draw segment XY that bisects it with the correct markings. Let's see if we're picking up our vocabulary here. Draw line segment XY so it bisects, cuts AB into 2 congruent parts. So I need a line segment called XY. No compass, this is draw, right? When I hear the word draw or read the word draw, we're just doing it freehand. If I see the word construct, then I'm using my compass. Good. I think a lot of you guys, just because what we're used to, you're putting it perpendicular. That's fine. It doesn't need to be in this one though. Okay? It doesn't need to be a perpendicular. It just needs to be a bisector. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go a little different here. There you go. Okay. Leave it. If you guys made it perpendicular, it still works. I just needed it to bisect. Okay. Just needed it to bisect. Should I put congruent marks on XY as well? What's the only thing getting bisected? AB. That's it. Not XY. So AB is the only one with hash marks. All right. Switch it up on me now. Go ahead. Do the next one. AB bisects XY. So technically, you could have the same diagram. You're just going to have markings on different segments. Sure. No matter how you drew it, I kept the same diagram as my previous one. I just put the markings on X, Y because that's the one getting bisected. What's that? That's fine, but we shouldn't have arrows on AB because look at what did I call AB above in the given line segment, right? And again, I don't care if it's perpendicular, that's just extra. It doesn't need to be perpendicular. Any questions on bisects before we go into the construction part? Okay, grab your compass. I want you to think about this now. Construct a line that bisects AB, but here's the catch. It's got to go, your line's got to go through X. Okay, it's got to go through X. All right, it's got to go through X. All right, so do we know how to cut it in half, right? I showed you that construction, right? Okay, let's start it off, which is put your compass point on A or B and open it up. There's just going to be one little change here. Open it up, more than half the length. You guys know the deal. We just got one little change up here after we make these arcs. So make the two arcs that intersect first. Does it make any sense to grab my straight edge and draw the line through? I'm not following the direct. It'll bisect it. Yeah, you do this. If anybody's going to draw this right here, it'll bisect, but what's my problem? You didn't follow the directions. It doesn't go through X. Oh, okay. So that line's not going to work. It doesn't go through X. How could I still use this, though, to find that line there? Matt, talk to us here.
Like find the midpoint. So go through the middle.
Line it up right now. Go ahead. Take your straight edge. Line it up. But don't draw on the line. All I want you guys to do is mark where the midpoint would be of AB. All right, so line it up, but don't draw in the line because it won't go through X. Mark the midpoint, and now make your line going through X and the midpoint. Now we got it. That'll bisect and go through X. So I'm still using this construction, but just to locate the midpoint so I can draw it through X. Oh boy. There we go. And anybody putting the markings on? Markings? Because we did bisect the line, right? Line segment. We did bisect this line segment. There it is. So we're using this construction for a lot, huh? Any questions from you guys? Bisecting versus perpendicular. Yep, Matt, go ahead.
I forgot to ask them a little. Why are the lines on the X and Y?
Okay, look at what I asked you to do. AB bisects XY. So what's getting bisected? Which line segment? What's it?
Or not XY.
XY is getting cut in half. So that's why I put them on XY, because that was the one. Versus here, I was cutting AB into two congruent parts. So that's why my markings are on AB. I could have done it anyway. I could have labeled it anyway, as long as my congruent marks, the hash marks, are on XY. Yeah, that's fine. Yep. Anything else? All right, let's keep going. We've been using this construction a lot here, but sometimes it won't work for us. We need something else. Look at the directions now. Construct a line that's perpendicular to AB, and it's got to go through P. I got a problem though. If we try to do the old whoop, what's the problem going to be? It won't go through P. It'll be perpendicular, but it won't go through P. And I'm not going to do this, right, like I showed you last one, because is that line going to be perpendicular? No, that's not going to form a right angle. So I'm kind of stuck. This construction that we've been using is not going to work here, so I need to show you a new construction. All right, this construction shows you how to do a perpendicular line. Ready for it's a little different. A little different. Okay, so everyone, this is brand new. This is how you make a perpendicular line. put your compass point on P. Put your compass point on P. And I'm going to take my time here and give you guys time to play around with your compass. You need to open up your compass to a certain point where you can make an arc that intersects this line segment in 1, 2 spots. It's going to look like a smile face, yeah. Should be looking like a smile. So play around with your compass opening so it intersects your line segment in 2 spots. Once you take your time, I'm not going to go on to the next step yet. Once you get those 2 spots, mark them with points. Okay, mark your 2 points of intersection, please, like we've been doing. Can everyone get that arc that intersects twice? We're getting it. We can play around with our compass opening. We're good. Mark your 2 points of intersection. I'll wait here because the next 2 steps are going to be no big deal. I don't know if anybody's been picking this up, but I've been having you guys mark these points of intersection because that's where you're going to put your compass the next 2 steps. Okay, the next 2 steps, you're going to put your compass point here and here, and you're going to make 2 arcs below that intersect each other. Okay, so try it out. Put your compass point on one of them. Put your compass point on one of them. And you're going to make an arc. Not a big one. You don't need a big one. And then you're going to go over the other point and make another arc that intersects the second one. And the hope is when you're done and you grab your straight edge, it lines up right underneath point P, hopefully. So go from each point of intersection, make 2 arcs that intersect each other. And the hope is that intersection point lines up beautifully right below P. And see if you can put correct markings on your diagram based on what I asked you to do here. And I have a gut feeling some of you are going to put extra markings that shouldn't belong on this one. What's the only thing we did here? These 2 are what to each other? Perpendicular, which means what should go on my diagram when I hear the word perpendicular? Okay, did we bisect anything? No, we did not bisect anything, so no hash marks, right? If they're only perpendicular to each other. So that's all I need. That's all I should have on there. I can't put the hash marks because I didn't bisect it. So that's how you make a perpendicular line. Questions? You're going to do it again, but you don't know that you're actually going to do it again here. I want it the same thing now. Same thing. Give me a perpendicular line going through that point. Now, where'd the point go? On the line now. Good news. Same construction I just showed you. Same exact construction. So quick review. Put your compass point on P. And now you get, unlike the last one, you get a little bit more creativity. You could do a frown instead, or you could do a smile, whatever you want to do, but it has to intersect in 2 spots. Okay, it has to intersect in 2 spots. Mark those points of intersection for me, and then do 2 more arcs from those points. And I have a question for a couple of you because this is a common thing that happens. Is it when you're making those 2 arcs, is anybody the intersection's landing right on P? Is that happening to anybody that when you make, okay, if that happens, when you make those two arcs, just open up your compass a little wider. All right, and do it that way. Yeah, sometimes that will happen. What I'm saying right here, guys, is that happens, and you're like, where do I line up my straight edge then, right? Because it lands on the same spot. Open up your compass for the last two arcs a little wider, and that won't happen. Okay, so you make your first arc, open up your compass a little wider, and then make the other two. If that's happening to you. If it's not, keep doing you. But that does happen from time to time. There it is. Boom. Anybody should I put hash marks on this? Nope. Again, I don't hear the word bisects. Nothing's being cut into two congruent parts. Just perpendicular. Any issues there? Making a perpendicular line? You guys are going to practice all this tonight. There's our last construction of the unit here, and this one's a big one. Anything else? Going? Okay. Here it is, the last one. This is a big one. Copy a triangle. Using your compass and a straight edge. Copy a triangle. A triangle is made up of three sides, which are also called what's this called again? This side is also what there? Well, vertex too, but I'm sorry. This right here, what have we been calling this? That's a line segment. What have we been calling this? And what have we been calling this? So it's three line segments. So all I'm asking you to do here is to copy three line segments, which was the first construction I ever showed you. All right, just a couple different steps in between here. So the first thing I'm going to need is a huge ray to copy this onto. All right, so that's the first thing you want to do is grab your straight edge and make a long, your ray should be longer than the longest side on this triangle. How about that? All right, your ray should be longer than the longest side on this triangle. And you make a decision. I have a preference, but you're going to make a decision. We are going to copy one of those sides onto the ray right now. My preference, I always start with the longest side. That's just me. You don't need to. It can still be done, but I always pick the longest side and copy it on. So if you remember copying, I open up my compass. I open up my compass to the length of the side I'm going to copy. If you don't want to copy the longest side, it's still going to work out fine. And then remember, I come down to my ray that you made, put my compass on the end point. And I'm going to make an arc, not a huge arc. I don't need to make a huge arc. There we go. Yep.
What's the distance of the...
That's this. I opened up my compass to the longest side, and then I came down here and made that arc. So this line segment is the same length as this side. Everyone good? Please remember that that's your first arc that you made, because that'll come into play at the end of this one. All right. If you want to put a number 1 next to it, it's up to you. But just please remember that that is the first arc that you made. Copy another. Ready? Copy another side now. Same way. Pick a second side and copy it onto your ray. Same way we did the first one. Okay, so copy the second one right onto your ray. And just remember that that's the second arc that you made. Just keep track of the first and the second one that you made. So it hasn't been too bad so far, right? Copy 2 sides onto the ray and make sure you keep track of which one's the first one arc and which one's the second. All right, you ready for the finale here to make it into a triangle? You got one more side left. All right, open it up to your compass length. Go ahead, open your compass up to that length. So whatever the third side is, open it up. Now, I think we're all in agreement. It wouldn't make any sense to go back and put that up. How the heck am I going to get a triangle from that? And you're right, I don't do that. I'm not going to do that. Here's what I am going to do. And this is why I need you to keep track of your arcs. You are going to put your compass point on the first arc. You're going to, wherever your first arc is, put your compass point, and you want to make this arc intersect the second arc that you made. So put your compass point on the first one to intersect the second one. Now, hey, take a look. Look, see what's happening to me? It won't intersect. That's because I didn't make that one longer, and I'm going to have to go back and just make it longer. All right? So put your compass point on the first arc so it intersects your second arc. All right, I got to go back and make my second one longer. You put your compass point on the first to intersect the second. There it is. And are you ready to make the triangle now? We already know this is the longest side, right? All right, so that's going to be part of our triangle. Now you grab your straight edge. What do you think we're going to connect here? I already know this. This is one side of my triangle right there because that's the first one I did. I'm going to go from the end point to point of intersection. There's side number 2. And where's side number 3 coming from? Do I draw it from the first or the second one? First, because this is the side of one of my triangles. And there it is. So I copy 2 line segments, the third one. I come down, put my compass on the first to intersect the second. And what's beautiful about this, you guys can easily and quickly check it. Open up your compass to all the sides of your triangle above and make sure it matches what you've constructed below. Very easy check. Very easy check. Do I actually have all the side lengths that I need? And you should be good to go. As like, I know your compass, wiggles a little bit. All right, it moves. I get it. So you might not be perfect, but you should be pretty much in the ballpark. Okay, you should be in the ballpark with those lengths. All right, any questions, comments? Everything's in the packet tonight. So if you want to get going, flip it over and start those constructions. I will warn you, there's no homework answers for those. All right, because you're just going to see a construction and not know how it's made. All right, so that's why I want you guys to go back, look. There's videos up on YouTube, as you know, that have all these constructions if you forget the steps. All right? Use your compass. Okay? Anytime you see the word construct, remember, anytime you see the word construct, we want to use our compass and straight